the man in charge today, Stokely Marshall. Good morning, Stokely.
Good morning, Nadine. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, and welcome.
Merry, blessed, peaceful, wonderful 2022 to you.
Indeed.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. Well, of course, we will be having the morning watch today, and of course, I we will be looking at bank fees this morning. Bank fees hike, whilst at the same time encouraging persons to become banked. And in the second watch, unemployment insurance. What is it? And why have it? And of course, the social media question. What are your thoughts on an unemployment insurance scheme? Nadine, is our guest ready as yet?
Our guests will be ready after I talk about the I quotes.
Well, of course, just for the benefit of the listeners, I want to remind listeners that a special welcome is there for them in terms of logging on. If you're a US listener, 712-832-8001, and if you are in the UK, 0330-332-6541. And of course, you can join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. And you can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live. And of course, Nadine, you persons can share their responses on Facebook or
Indeed,
YouTube.
it's
Love 101
post
FM
is
Jamaica
there.
Live.
That's right.
Yes.
The post is there, and they can indeed go on and share. And of course, on WhatsApp, don't forget to put morning watch, so I know that that's what you're responding to.
Okay, excellent. Well, Nadine, I quote.
Yes, our I quote for today: "You are never too old to set another goal or dream a new dream." Les Brown.
Amazing. You know, he came to Jamaica some time ago, and ah, anyway, enough said. He is a great speaker and a great motivator. The main watch. We'll be back after this break.
Get ready for another world of worship inside Alive 1 to 5 January 26th. Stick around for prayer blast. Text 2 o'clock. More prayer, more power. 2:15, we feature Worship Mob as our worship artist of the day. Then at 3 p.m., we bring you the Alive Bible Challenge ABC semi-final match number 2, featuring challenger Renee Young of the Central Tabernacle Deliverance Center, who is going up against challenger Stephanie Ellis of the Power and Grace Ministries. All this and more will come your way inside Alive 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. with me, your host, Sarah and the Trophy One, on the Family Station, ranking number 4 in the extensive local radio landscape and number 1 in gospel. Love 101. Give him praise, give him praise.
The tears apart are the ones that unite us and bring us closer together. Sometimes the darkest of night turns into a day so bright, leaving the scars and the pain, everything that we fear behind us. Where there is life, let's keep on dreaming. Where there is love, let's find new meaning. Where there is hope, keep on believing, keep holding on. Hold on. So never give up through wind and storm. 'Cause after the rain, there'll be a calm. Sunshine of a new day, it won't be long. Keep holding on.
A message from Sagicor.
For nearly 100 years, Massey has served its customers and communities with heart and innovation. Now, built on a more strategic model, Massey is poised for growth and committed to powering change across the region and the globe. Their next big move is the cross-listing on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Now, this household name can become part of your portfolio, giving you access to diversified investments and competitive dividends. One stock, multiple portfolios. Massey.
Digicel are the winner circle for the second year running. This time walking away with the award for Jamaica's fastest mobile network, best mobile coverage, and fastest home fiber internet. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Digicel.
Didn't catch that? It's just the truth. Digicel is the fastest LTE and home fiber internet in Jamaica, giving coverage and speeds you can rely on over and over again. Digicel, better together.
Under the Law helps you to know your rights and how the laws of Jamaica can help you defend those rights. We've been doing it for 15 years. That's right. Join us on Thursdays at 6:20 a.m., 2:35, 6:45, and 9:10 p.m. Government of Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities. Educating, advocating, empowering. Under the Law, Thursdays on Love 101 FM.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokely Marshall. We are now in the main watch, and we're looking at the very difficult and troublesome concern of bank fees. We have as our guest today Mr. Fitzjackson. And Mr. Fitzjackson is no stranger to Jamaicans. He's Member of Parliament, South St. Catherine. And concerning bank fees hike, whilst at the same time encouraging persons to become banked. Mr. Jackson, good day.
Good morning, Sir Stokely. Good morning to your listeners, and all the best for the new year, health, and first and foremost, for you to always for us to all have good health and everything else thereafter.
Thank you, sir. Now, one of the things I noticed this morning on the front page, at the top of the front page of today's Gleaner, banks push back. Banks push back. Responding to outrage, President says counting moving cash is costly. Now, Mr. Jackson, there was a recent article in which you heavily criticized, or you were reported as heavily criticizing, the impending, now increasing cost of doing business with banks. The bank fees for various services that you do, for example, at the ABM. And if you do business with a particular bank at the ABM or machine of another bank, it's even more costly, etc. I don't know if somebody knew that you're going to be speaking on the Morning Watch this morning, sir, why that is on the front page of the Gleaner. I don't know. But I noticed it this morning, and I said, how timely. Banks push back. What is your reaction to all of what is happening with the increased bank fees, Mr. Jackson? Because people are feeling it, and you seem to be one of the lone voices. I don't want to say in the wilderness. Let me say in the forest. Who is speaking like this? And you were brave enough, I will say brave enough to present legislation to Parliament. It went nowhere, unfortunately. And yes, I am saying unfortunately. Mr. Jackson, bring us up to speed. What's really happening?
Well, what you started with, which is the pending increase. Some of them already increased of the two biggest banks, which is NCB and BNS. Between the both of them, they have served notice that the new increases would come in effect for both this month and I think in March or this next month, this year. But as I've said elsewhere, Stokely, it is not new. It is another round of increase of bank fees. And the increases before was not new because for some time now they have been charging these onerous and unreasonable and I not dare to say I can factually say illegal fees because the dormancy fee that they were charging was a breach of the existing Banking Services Act, and which they have suspended charging upon being advised that they will be sued for the illegal deduction. And I'll come back to that in a moment in respect to the government role or lack of activities in that regard. So they have been charging these fees essentially for customers doing transactions against their account. And my position is principally this. One, banks, unlike all other businesses, they make their monies, their profits from the use of depositors' money. They are given that privilege by the government through its regulatory entity, in this case, the Bank of Jamaica, to take people's deposit and not just keep it safely. Keep it safely and be able to unlend those funds to make profits for themselves, for which they have no obligation to share those profits with the depositors. They may as well as they may not, by way of interest payment on the deposits, etc. But there's no obligation to pay an interest. What they're obliged to do is to keep that money safely. But they cannot give a loan unless people make deposits. So their opportunity to make money is by the deposits which they take in. And I must interject at this point, banking services have become a utility, literally, like telecom, like water, like light, like the roadway, which is a utility, public utility. Everybody use it. Everybody have to use it in any civil society. Or modern society, I should say.
Just to quickly point out, Mr. Jackson, that many persons have no bank account still.
Many don't. Yes, you are correct. And a lot of people do. And a lot of people who don't have, they would like to have one, except for the disincentives that exist. But I was saying about the unique position that banks are put in by being able to take people's deposits and unlend it to a license granted to them by the people, through their government. The people of the country give them the privilege through the laws of the country. And what the banks have done in recent times is to move away from that practice of earning their monies from the loans that they make. The quality loans determine the level of income that they earn. They have decided to take a risk-free route and to invest and to charge the depositors for giving them their monies in their deposits for them to make money.
So you're saying that in addition to making monies off the interest on loans, they're using these fees as another way to make money, not just to recover expenses, because if the front page of the Gleaner here indicates banks push back, and the president of the JBA, there's a picture of him here, and the subcaption, let's finish, the subcaption reads, responding to outrage, president says counting, moving cash is costly. But hold the thought, Mr. Jackson, because I do see where we are now upon a break. Listeners, please stay with us. We'll be right back on the Morning Watch.
Hello?
For nearly 100 years, years, Massey has served its customers and communities with heart and innovation. Now, built on a more strategic model, Massey is poised for growth and committed to powering change across the region and the globe. Their next big move is the cross-listing on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Now, this household name can become part of your portfolio, giving you access to diversified investments and competitive dividends. One stock, multiple portfolios. Massey.
Digicel, the winner's circle for the second year running. This time walking away with the award for Jamaica's fastest mobile network, best mobile coverage and fastest home fiber internet. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Digicel.
Didn't catch that? It's just the truth. Digicel is the fastest LTE and home fiber internet in Jamaica, giving coverage and speeds you can rely on over and over again. Digicel, better together.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokely Marshall. We are in the main watch. The topic is bank fees hike, whilst at the same time encouraging persons to become banked. And our guest is Mr. Fitzy Jackson. He is Member of Parliament for South St. Catherine. Mr. Jackson, you're still with us?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah,
no, Mr. Jackson, an interesting point before the break. The Bankers Association is claiming that it costs a lot of money to move cash around. Your thoughts?
Yes. I laugh at that. And that argument was raised long time by the bankers in our interaction. I was making the point that the banks, unlike other businesses, they use people's money to earn money on. Other businesses would have to borrow money or use their own savings or a combination of that to set up a business.
In fact,
sorry, go ahead.
What you're saying it for about the third time, Mr. Jackson, in this interview, it's raising a fundamental issue, which, I mean, I'm no expert on banking law, I don't pretend to be, but my understanding is that when you put your money with the bank, you become, as it were, a creditor to the bank, and not a secured creditor either, not a secured creditor. So I have $1,000. I open a bank account. I put the $1,000 in the bank. Technically, it's not really my money again, is it? Because I've placed it on deposit with you. I mean, yes, I can go and withdraw the money. I can take out a part of it, etc. But
not exactly.
Well. I mean, that's just us here, Mr. Jackson, because
what your argument would hold. When you deposit-taking institutions are just that, in deposit-taking. They are not like securities dealer where you give them the money to invest. You put the money.
No, but the point I'm making, just follow me, because I don't think we're really at odds. In other words, when you place your money with the bank isn't really a custodian of the money, in the sense where I put it in a safe, and that money in that safe is all mine. Are you with me, Mr. Jackson? They're not the custodians of the money. In fact, I do recall once we did a course in accounting, and the lecturer was very clear. He said, when you put your money in the bank, you are now a creditor to the bank, and he was very clear about that.
They don't owe you.
They don't owe me this money, but it's not as if they are custodians in the sense where I put it in a safe, and all of that money in that safe belongs to me. And it's it's a discussion to be.
All the money that you put in that safe belongs to you, but not all that is in the safe.
Say that again, Mr. Jackson.
All the money that you put in that safe by virtue of a deposit, that $1,000 for argument's sake, is yours. That safe has yours and many other deposits in it too. But you have $1,000 in that safe. Right? So they are now keeping the money for you safely, supposed to be in that safe. So it goes one step further. Upon taking the money from you and keep it in that safe, the government say, by virtue of their license, You can use the money in the safe. You don't have to just watch over it, right? As Prime Minister Motley said, banks are not like security guards for your money. They are intermediaries. They take the money
point,
and they use it. They
yes.
use the money. It's not sitting in a safe. It's been used. It's been used by them to make money, and the law permits them to do that. What the law does not permit is for you to penalize persons for putting the money in the safe. And what the banks have been doing in recent times is to penalize persons by the imposition of a myriad of fees.
And
And
I'm gonna say something further, Mr. Jackson. I'm gonna say something further. And this is something that I remember seeing happen to a family member who has now moved on to blessed memory. And this was during the FinSac era. This is one of the first times I realized how banks operate. Money was placed in an account. The bank got in trouble. This family member only got a fraction of the money that was in the account. That's all this family member ever got back, a fraction. Happened right here in Jamaica. So back to what you just said, and this is not something I heard, I saw it happen. So back to what you just said, sir. Yes, you put this money in this, call it a safe for the purpose of this discussion. If this bank runs into trouble because they have loaned money elsewhere, etc., 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 you may only get back a fraction of what you put in there in the first place, depending on how things work out, sir.
Well, what you have, the picture you have painted, or the
Yeah.
case that you put forward. I have been a victim of that too.
Yes.
With the meltdown prior to FinSac, monies I had in accounts, I end up getting back. I think it was 90% I got back. I mean, I lost 10% of the face value. But the reason why you have the central bank and the central bank with a supervisory function is to ensure that each bank's banking operation does not jeopardize the deposits you put there. In other words, for them to become insolvent by their lending ratio relative to the deposits that they have, so that the deposits that are with them remain safe. That's one of the role of the central bank. So when you give the bank your money, they cannot operate in a willy-nilly way that can jeopardize or compromise the safety of your money.
Okay, but to be clear though, they're not. But to be clear, they are not custodians in the sense the money is just sitting there for you.
Certainly
not. The money is placed with the institution. They are able to lend, etc., within the banking rules clearly. And the concern you're having is that the fees are too excessive. But the banks have a different story to tell.
I am going further. I'm not saying that the fees are excessive. I'm saying that to the extent, not to the extent, the fact that you put the monies for safekeeping in the banks is what they're licensed to do and have the privilege to use it and earn money on it. They should not penalize depositors for giving them their monies to make money on. At the very least, they should be giving them a reward by virtue of some payment on it. But be that as it may, at the very least, and the Banking Services Act says that you must protect the value of the monies placed with you for safekeeping. But instead, what the banks have done is to increase their earnings through a risk-free activity of fees. That's basically what they have done. So they have not emphasized now taking the money and lending it. Because one of the importance of banks, Stokely, is to mobilize cash for persons to borrow for national development. People can borrow for their homes and mortgages. They can borrow for setting up a business, even take a vacation, what have you. So banks serve a useful national purpose of mobilizing cash. And in the business of mobilizing cash, they charge an interest. And that's where their earning is. What the banks have done is to shift away from lending the money and earning and say, just charge me a fee. I will charge you a fee for keeping it safe. And that's not what they were licensed for, as Prime Minister Motley said recently. That's not what they were licensed for. They were licensed to use to be able to take the money and to invest it in the form of loans and other financial instruments and make money. And all we're saying is that the fact that you get the privilege to make money from people's money, you should not penalize them by charging these fees. So the bill before the parliament is to provide for a minimum service package that each depositor will be able to go into their account, make withdrawals, or to add in more, or to make inquiry on activities like those without any penalties. Simple. It is not asking the bank to use their money to do anything. Because when I read the article, and I've heard it before about the cost of moving money, there's cost for light bill, there's cost for salaries, there's cost for water bill for the bank. Those are all operating expenses. And those operating expenses, like all other businesses, is taken out of your gross profit. But what they do is to secure, put aside the interest, the income from interest earning activities, and say, since I have your money, I'm going to charge you a fee to have it here. They have separated their lending activities, which is again
Mr. Jackson, we're almost out of time already, and I do think we probably want to have you back for a discussion, along with maybe a legal counsel who's an expert in banking law, because banking law is a specific area. Because I think there are a couple of things to drill down into. For example, the point I made about them not being custodians for the money, I think that needs to be explored some more, and their ability to make money on the money that has been deposited, I think that needs to be further explored. I take into account what you just said about what the Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Mottley, said. Where do we go from here in Jamaica as far as you are concerned, sir? Because
before Parliament, where do we go? The Prime Minister and the members of the Parliament on both sides just need to demonstrate the courage.
What is your leader saying, sir? He's the opposition leader, Mark Golding. Has he made any statement?
Publicly said that.
I'm not sure if I got you heard it clearly.
All the opposition members, excluding none.
Okay, so the opposition is fully on board with your position. I see, and there seems to be some. Well, certainly at the local government level, the mayor of Port Maria, in one of the newspapers yesterday, indicated that he thought the hike in bank fees was insensitive. The word insensitive was used. Any comments there before we wrap?
Well, he asked the government of his party to act. And I welcome that, because I've been trying to get them to act, and I have not succeeded so far.
Okay.
So it was very welcoming to hear one of their members publicly, because I dare to say there are other JLP members of Parliament that do support the bill, but they have been whipped into opposing it by the leadership.
Okay.
So I welcome.
And you have evidence of this.
Well, I speak to them.
Okay. Mr. Jackson, I think we have to leave it there today, and I think we'll have you back in the future on this topic. I want to thank Mr. Fitzjackson. Oh, definitely. We thank Mr. Fitzjackson for having been with us. Stay with us, listeners. We'll be right back shortly on the Morning Watch.
Now with no processing fees and no down payment, it's time to open the door to your own sweet home. The time by JN Bank is
7:30.
Get ready for the Woman Ignite Success Summit 2022. 2 days of intense worship and conversations about building kingdom wealth, leadership, marriage and relationship, mental health, finding purpose, and more. Featuring mental health expert Dr. Caroline Leaf, LA-based entrepreneur Heather Lindsay, plus worship with Rhoda Isabella, Alicia Taylor, Nadine Blair, and friends. Woman Ignite Success Summit, a life transforming event. January 28 and 29, Corley Auditorium, Kingston. Book virtual or limited in-person VIP tickets at womanigniteja.com. Powered by Digicel, Sagicor, One Group, Jamaica Observer, and Love FM.
From generation to generation, Jamaicans have depended on J&B Bank to make the pride and joy of providing a safe place for their families possible. Now, with no processing fees and no down payment mortgage options, you can open the door to your own sweet home, a legacy to hand to your next generation. Visit jnbank.com to get pre-approved today. J&B Bank will help you find a way.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokely Marshall. Let's take a look now at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing. And we have on the front page of the Gleaner, banks push back. Responding to outrage, President says counting moving cash is costly. Another item of news here on the front page of the Gleaner, chicken producers cry foul over tariff talk. Chicken producers cry foul over tariff talk. And both articles respectively were written by Timon Francis and Christopher Sergiu of the Gleaner. Turning to the Observer here, we have several items of news on the front page of the Observer. And one of them here, SAV residents complain about Zozo soldiers. SAV residents complain about Zozo soldiers. Those and many other items in both major daily newspapers. Coming up next, we will look at the feedback from our Facebook and WhatsApp question. What are your thoughts on unemployment insurance? What are your thoughts on an unemployment insurance scheme? And of course, persons can participate by, leaving their responses on Facebook or YouTube, Love One on FM Jamaica Live, and also WhatsApp your comments and voice notes to 876-997-3125 using hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll be right back.
For nearly 100 years, Massey has served its customers and communities with heart and innovation. Now, built on a more strategic model, Massey is poised for growth and committed to powering change across the region and the globe. Their next big move is the cross-listing on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Now, this household name can become part of your portfolio, giving you access to diversified investments and competitive dividends. One stock, multiple portfolios. Massey.
Entrepreneurs, now you've got more support in your corner. Introducing Sagicor Bank Business Resource Center, where entrepreneurs benefit from free training in business management, financial support and guidance from pros, as well as research capabilities. Sagicor Bank, in partnership with the Jamaica Business Development Corporation, brings you this first center of its kind for small entrepreneurs to develop and grow. Let's help you take your business to the next level of success. Contact Sagicor Bank Business Resource Center today. WhatsApp 876-997-3745.
Hello.
Hello.
Goodbye.
Goodbye? What are you doing?
I'm saying hello to peace of mind and goodbye to worry.
Oh, I'd like to say that too.
Well, with Guardian Life's new ultimate provider, you can secure your medical expenses in the event of critical illness ahead of time and benefit from their investment portfolio too.
Wow. So it's hello peace of mind
and goodbye worry with Guardian Life's new ultimate provider. For more information, contact 888-367-5433 or talk to one of our representatives. Guardian Life. Live secure. Live easy.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokely Marshall. We are about to head into the second watch. Before we do that, any comments, Nadine, in relation to the feedback question? What are your thoughts on an unemployment insurance scheme?
It doesn't seem to be popular, Stokely. I have one response so far. Lots of good mornings. But let's see now. Jackie says, have not heard much about it. And on the WhatsApp, there was a comment from someone, but that was about the discussion earlier about the banking. Yes. But let's see what we can learn about the insurance. Yeah.
Indeed. And we will definitely be learning a lot more about this. Because in Jamaica, it's not something which is very popularly spoken about. about rather the matter of unemployment insurance or an unemployment insurance scheme. What exactly is that about? And is it something that insurance companies are embracing? And we have online this morning to discuss is Constance Hu, Vice President, Employee Benefits Administration, regarding the.
Good morning,
Okay.
Sophie, and good morning to your listeners. It's wonderful to
And
be here. Thanks for giving us this opportunity.
great. And I hope I did not mispronounce your surname.
Well, that is how I pronounce it. Who, H-O-O.
Oh, thank you. I feel much better. Okay, I feel much, much better. Well, first of all, would you like to enlighten us as to what exactly is, well, remind us what insurance is as a first step, and then take us to unemployment insurance.
All right. So, insurance is a tool that is available to all individuals to help with financial planning. Insurance takes care of unexpected eventualities, and the benefits from insurance policies will be able to help individuals to financially manage those challenges as they come along. Most persons will be familiar with life insurance that will pay a benefit to beneficiaries if the person who is insured dies. So you will purchase a life insurance policy, and when you pass, your beneficiaries, your spouse, your children, parents, they will receive the benefits of that policy. That is the most popular type of insurance. And that is where unemployment insurance will come along for the most part. Um, Persons will have to invest in themselves so that if one day they happen to be without employment for no reason of their own, they can benefit from unemployment insurance. I have to say that for life insurance, this is not a common aspect, but we do have something that's available through creditor life insurance, where persons who take loans can benefit from this.
You know, this whole matter, unemployment insurance, many people will tell you that they already have a mountain of expenses and they're having challenges keeping their jobs. And now an additional expense of having to pay unemployment insurance premiums. How do you sell that to persons? Because people are just trying to get along with their lives and go about their affairs. How do you sell that to persons, Constance?
Stokely, we cannot do anything in life without planning and proper planning. And it is interesting that you should ask that at this time, because unemployment insurance is, as I said, something that was not popular. But guess what brought it to the fore? This very pandemic that we are living through. As we know, when the pandemic hit in 2020, very quickly a lot of persons lost their jobs, they lost hours, the number of hours they could work. And so that resulted in a reduced income and reduced disposable income. And that is why planning is important, because it's very difficult to get that type of insurance when you're unemployed because you have no funds to pay the premiums. So you have to start planning for it from before.
I'm going to throw a troublesome one here to you. Suppose the person was relieved of their employment because they did not submit to the taking of a COVID-19 inoculation. They are then sent home. Would that person qualify to receive unemployment insurance benefits?
So it really would depend on the terms of the policy. As it is now, for the unemployment insurance that is as a result of loans, we really specify to it as involuntary unemployment. And so if someone use their right to not be inoculated against the vaccine, I'm not sure that it will be seen as something that is involuntary. Certainly now when we are pushing vaccines and so on, I'm really not sure that that will be considered as such. We have not had such a case as yet, but I'm not so sure it will be seen as involuntary.
Interesting. I just thought I'd raise that one with you. Now,
That's fine.
in terms of how do you work out how someone, well, for example, someone is interested in unemployment insurance. What is it that you use to assess them? Their salary, their a job letter, pay slips. How do you work out the premium? Uh, can they get unemployment insurance at a level in excess of their current salary? What are the things that you look at?
All right. So at Guardian Life, the involuntary unemployment insurance is really done through a group. So we have lending entities or lending agencies who extend loans to their customers, and those persons insure their loans. So they can insure their loans against death, critical illness, or involuntary unemployment. And so the pricing of that premium comes as part of the group. Of course, there is power in numbers, so it really depends on the number of persons who are involved and the value of the loan that is involved. And so persons can take advantage of being insured through a group. So say, for instance, large banks, large mortgage houses, they will have insurance to safeguard against this. The premiums are not based on the salary. It's really based on the value of the loan. And that is how it is priced. And then when the benefits kick in now, it doesn't pay for the rest of your life, because of course we want to encourage persons to get back into the work world. And so it pays it for a specific period according to the term of that policy. The most common is 6 months.
Okay, so assist us here. When we talk about unemployment insurance, but you keep using the term loan, help us to understand the connection between unemployment insurance and your references to loan.
Right. So remember I said that the unemployment insurance under the life side is not very popular. What we do have are those that are connected to loans. So it's a product that we can think about designing and developing for individuals, but right now the power is through loans, because the numbers are there, the need is there. So for most entities to get the loan, the loan has to be insured, and that is how persons will buy into it. As you say, when you're looking at disposable income, to buy more insurance when you think you have enough is something that we need to wrap our minds around. As a Jamaican culture, insurance is very, very important, and it can be that is the tool that makes the difference between being able to live or die sometimes.
So if someone is taking a loan now in 2022, you would recommend that they insure the loan not only in case of death, but also in case of possible unemployment.
Definitely.
I think I'm following you now. And well, we are upon a break. Mrs. Constance, who stay with us, please. And listeners, we'll be right back on the morning watch.
I've got love in my heart and I'm feeling blessed.
Get ready for another world of worship inside Alive 1 to 5 January 26th. Stick around for prayer blast at 2 o'clock. More prayer, more power. 2:15, we feature Worship Mob as our worship artist of the day. Then at 3 p.m., we bring you the Alive Bible Challenge ABC semi-final match number 2, featuring challenger Renique Young of the Central Tabernacle Deliverance Center, who is going up against challenger Stephanie Ellis of the Power and Praise Ministries. All this and more will come your way inside Alive 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. with me, your host, Sarah and the Chirpy One, on the Family Station, ranking number 4 in the extensive local radio landscape and number 1 in gospel. Love 101.
Give him praise, give him praise.
Receive words of strength from Voice of Power, radio voice of the Power of Faith Ministries in Portmore with Bishop Dr. Delford Davis.
The battle of seed has been declared many years ago and it's still raging. I will put enmity between thee and between the woman, thy seed and her seed. A war will be on perpetually until Jesus returns. But I know who has already won the war. I know who has already won the war.
That's Voice of Power, radio voice of the Power of Faith Ministries with Bishop Dr. Delford Davis, every Thursday at 9:30 a.m. on the Family Station. Love 101.
Speak, my Lord. Speak, and I will answer. Send me.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokely Marshall. We are in the second watch. We're looking at unemployment insurance. What is it and why have it? Our guest is Constance Hu, and she is Vice President, Guardian Life, Employee Benefit Administration. Constance Hu, just before the break, if a person were to take a loan, you'd recommend that in addition to insuring the loan in case of the death of the borrower, the loan should also be insured in case that borrower loses their job. Yeah?
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Now, just help listeners to understand how this works or how this would work. Someone comes in for a loan. They can, if they wish, just borrow the money and start paying it back. But the person might die while the loan is in force. It means that the person's estate would have to pick up the tab and pay off that loan. Similarly, if the person borrows some money from an institution, they lose their job while the loan is in force, so they are jobless and have a loan to pay back. That's a burden on the person that's very difficult to bear. So how do you assist them by ensuring that there is this insurance in place so that while they're unemployed, and you say it goes for no more than 6 months, while they're unemployed, at least the loan will be paid off in the interim? Just assist us there.
All right. So if somebody has lost their job and they have a loan, and the loan is insured for involuntary unemployment, all they will need to do is to complete a claim form, which will entail all the details of the policy and the details of their unemployment. But in addition to that, we will need verified proof of the involuntary unemployment. And usually this comes by way of letter from the employer to indicate that the person was in this capacity for a number of years, and due to whatever reason, the employment has to cease and with an effective date. And so when we receive that, all of that is reviewed, and the decision is usually, in insurance, we're in the business of paying claims. So once everything is set, the claim is processed, and then the value of the benefit, which is most commonly 6 months, is then paid to the creditor. So it is not paid to the person who is insured. It is paid to the person or the entity from where the loan was taken. In the case of someone who is self-employed, they will need to show us proof that they have had no income for a particular period in time, and then the same will happen. We will look at it. Usually it is approved because the requirements are quite simple and clear, and so the loan for that period is paid as well to the creditor.
I see. So who are the customers who approach you then for unemployment insurance? Individuals or companies?
So at this point in time, it is companies, the lending entities, the lending agents, the banks, the loan companies and so on, mortgage houses. Yes, those are the ones.
When you say the loan companies, you mean the loan companies that are not banks?
Correct, but they have to be registered, duly registered to practice, to conduct their kind of business.
I see. Now, so John Brown, Mary Jane, they approach a bank for a loan. The banker says to them, well, you can insure this loan against possible unemployment. It will increase the premium that they pay for this loan, or the loan payment that they pay for this loan. Wouldn't it, Miss Constance Ho? Who?
So there is a premium because it's a service that is offered, but I can tell you the benefit in most, I would say in all instances so far, outweigh the premiums. As you know, with insurance, the risk is to do it with a pool of persons, because we would hope that not many people will make that claim. I must tell you though that in the pandemic, this type of claim has shot up by more than 100%, and understandably so. We didn't see it coming. We didn't price for a pandemic to happen, but the fact is that it does happen, and in our business we have to honor our obligations, and so when the claims come in, we assess them and we process them accordingly.
Now, the success of much of this is going to depend on documentation. Some persons may have lost their job or jobs, and maybe all the paperwork wasn't in place. The employer just didn't give them a letter, or they didn't give them a letter in time. How do you treat with those things?
Stokely, in the past couple of years, the employers have been really helpful. Most persons didn't even know that they had this kind of insurance coverage to protect them from loan payments during a period of unemployment. And the employers have been really helpful. They have gone back, they're able to get copies, because employers usually keep these copies on files for employees, even though they don't work there anymore. And they're able to get copies of this from their employees to submit for the insurance benefits to be paid.
So I think the point I'm making is that some persons, they may have lost their job, and for whatever reason, the company, the employer, whoever it is, maybe tardiness, the paperwork is not there. And maybe the person was advised that they would no longer be working via text message or an email. And the email is now lost. The text message may not be considered formal enough. I don't know. How do you treat with situations like that, or you have not been confronted with those?
To be honest, we have not been confronted with that at all. All our claims, well, I hope our insureds are not having difficulty getting it, but we have been getting the letters, the copies of the letters, quite easily from the persons who have made claims.
I see. So, for the benefit of the listeners, remind us what unemployment insurance is and how persons can acquire it.
All right, so unemployment insurance is that protection that that will give you financial assistance during a period of unemployment, usually for no reason that you cause. So, if you were made redundant, that is one popular reason for unemployment insurance. But if you resigned or if you were separated for what HR professionals term as for cause, that would make you ineligible. And how you get it right now, most popular, it's through lending agencies to cover the loans. So in addition to death benefits and critical illness, persons are also covered for involuntary unemployment. And the lending entities, they actually encourage you to get the coverage for everything, not just for death, because you never know what life has to offer. And it gives you peace of mind to know that if you become ill or if you lose your job, you are protected. And so I would encourage everyone not just to get covered for death, but for life's eventualities. And you just let the lending agency know that you're interested in getting the coverage for involuntary unemployment as well. The premiums are very small compared to the benefits that can be gained. And once that is done, everything is set. You answer a few questions, everything is set. And try to keep that job and try to stay alive.
Understood. And is this something that is popular in other countries, or is it something which is globally new to many places?
I would say it has its popularity in larger nations. We are close to the United States and not very close, but we are close in relation to the United Kingdom, and they have plain unemployment insurance. You're unemployed, you can get unemployment benefits. The requirements are usually the same. For most of those large territories, you also have to prove that you have been trying to find a job during that time. So, and those are not tied to loans or anything. You're just unemployed, and it's usually a government benefit that is given. So, persons tend to shy away from private insurance. The governments provide that kind of protection for their citizens.
Any likelihood of a company such as yours providing unemployment insurance in the future, not because it's tied to a loan, but because the person just lost their job, period? Any prospect of that occurring?
Definitely, Stokely. At Guardian Life, we're always looking for new products. We take ideas from our clients, from persons on the street, even from persons who are not customers. And you would have heard that and read that unemployment insurance is something that's very topical right now. For most of us, this is the first time that we're living through a period like this during a pandemic, which has severely impacted some person's employment. And we are using this opportunity to look at the data to see what is the best coverage that we can provide for persons very shortly.
I think we're just about out of time. I want to thank Constance Hu for being our guest in this segment. Very interesting, new to many of us, but the information is quite useful, and we look to hear more from you and your company going forward. Have a good day.
Thank you, Stokely. It was our pleasure, and please have a good day as well.
Great. Thank you all listeners for being with us, and join us again tomorrow to look at other topical and controversial issues. And visit the Love 101 FM Facebook, YouTube, and Facebook page for this and all other Love 101 FM programs, and listen to the Morning Watch on our Love 101 app. Download it today and stay connected to us, the family station, Love 101 FM, the number one gospel station in Jamaica. This has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer, Kathy Gill, and to our guests. I am Stokely Marshall, handing you back to Love in the Morning with Nadine Blair.
Thank you so much, Stokely, and thank you, our listeners, for making it the Morning Watch. This is